The Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners. This episode of Word Balloon is brought to you by AlexRossArt.com. Alex has a brand new graphic novel coming out from Marvel and Abrams Books, Fantastic Four Full Circle. It comes out September 6th. It's a rainy night in Manhattan, and not a creature is stirring except for the Thing, Ben Grimm. When an intruder suddenly appears inside the Baxter Building, the Fantastic Four find themselves surrounded by a swarm of invading parasites. These carrion creatures, composed of negative energy, come to Earth using a human host as a delivery system. But for what purpose? And who is behind this untimely invasion? The Fantastic Four have no choice but to journey to the negative zone, an alien universe comprised entirely of antimatter, risking not just their own lives, but the fate of the cosmos. Fantastic Four Full Circle is the first long-form work written and illustrated by acclaimed artist Alex Ross, who revisits a classic Lee Kirby story from the 60s and introduces the storyline for a new generation of readers. Bold, vivid colors, his trademark visual storytelling, Ross takes Marvel's first team of superheroes to places only he can illustrate. The book also features a special poster jacket with the front flap unfolding to reveal an all-new, fully painted origin story of the Fantastic Four. Again, Fantastic Four Full Circle, out September 6th. For more details, go to AlexRossArt.com. Welcome back, everybody. Time again for Word Balloon and Trek Watch. Mitch is all ready with his communicator. Wayne is up there, ready to fire torpedoes. Franco is on an away mission. He won't be joining us, but more than enough of us to discuss what's going on in Star Trek and/or lots of other things. Langley is back joining us. Langley, I sent you an email if you want to join us live video-wise, and I'm sorry that I didn't think of it earlier. But absolutely appreciate you watching, along with everybody else that's watching right now live. So, I want to get right to Prodigy. Mitch, you saw it?
Yeah, I watched it this afternoon. It's really cool.
Wayne?
Oh, it was great.
Honestly, one of the best episodes, I thought.
You just wish that the rest of the Star Trek writers could just sort of listen in on the room.
Yeah.
To find out, here's how you write a Star Trek episode.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the Bensons in about a month, mid-December, after their episode airs. So I hope to get some more insight on that writer's room. But yeah, man, they are again both, and I would honestly even say Lower Decks this season. Such a marked difference from what we're getting from the live action stuff. But yeah,
well, except for Strange New Worlds.
I agree. Yeah. No, I agree. But yeah, what do you think, Mitch?
I was so happy tonight because I saw O'Connor, who was, even though he's only on one episode, I'm a huge Billy Campbell fan. Rocketeer, Crime Story, which goes back way before Rocketeer. So sure. I saw the character and I said, I hope he does the voice. And I waited for the credits and I saw he did the voice. So I'm like, that's cool. But yeah, I like the little mystery they set up. At first I was like, who cares where Chakotay went? But now it's actually gotten really good. And it doesn't take a lot. It's a basic old, it's like The Fugitive, we got to get away. They're after us. It's like, they're all convenient at the same time. And, fade to black. Tune in next week to see how they get out of this one.
And a real good. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's just simple, basic storytelling. And as long as the characters are well written and you give a shit, you get involved. But, that's the problem with the other shows that you mentioned, because 4 years we haven't got involved in anybody on this. I haven't. I know,
other than Burnham.
Well, no, we know about them, but we don't care about them. That's the difference.
What you
know.
have to like too is that they extended the story because you're saying, oh, well, Janeway's now on the planet. So, oh, hey, Starfleet, we have an issue. We have your ship, but they found a nice way to extend the story. I
can't believe how big Janeway's ship is compared to their ship. I was like, I knew it was tiny because they only had like 5 or 6 people on that ship, but not on. It was like the shuttlecraft size or something, or a Reliant. Or Janeway's ship is extremely huge, like, I don't know, like Excelsior class.
A Daedalus class.
Have
is that what it is?
I don't even know. Have you looked it up, Wayne? Is that what
no,
it is?
I haven't looked it up, but I think they called it the Daedalus.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's like a giant version of the Voyager model.
Sure. Langley says my only hiccup with the episode is the kids running away from the very Starfleet people they want to find, especially Janeway, but I give them a pass because they're children.
They're kids, yeah.
But also, you've got the guy from the Starbase ready to identify them and go, hey, they're the problem. And also, you've got Gwen's father. What do you guys think? Now I'm starting to wonder if Gwen's father actually has traumatized amnesia, and maybe is while he wants it. Yeah, no, Wayne, go ahead.
Yeah, I think he's playing possum.
Okay,
almost like
probably
he knows he's outnumbered because he's on a Federation starship. His goal is if I can get to the protostar.
Right, of course.
And then what's the best way to get into Starfleet's good graces? Play, oh, I'm weak. Oh, they took my daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, can you please help me?
I hear what you're saying, and I agree. But as opposed to what you would expect, especially from a kid level show, we get kind of evil eyes as he's deceiving them. We haven't had that. Mm-hmm. We've had him looking at, oh my God, there's the ship and everything, but we haven't really gotten those kind of quiet moments by himself. Yeah,
mustache twirling.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Although
the Emperor,
he's clean shaven.
Star Wars.
Yeah. But and again, that's why this show blows me away, because it really has, for being still a Y7 show, it has a very adult attitude. I loved when Jaco runs into the other Tellurite, and there's an interesting contrast, because I was wondering, I'm like, why is Jaco so street?
Yeah.
Kind of ignorant compared to the Tellurites we've seen in other shows. And clearly he's a lower class Tellurite.
Yeah. And it explains the look too. And he was calling him a hog and all that. I was like, wait a minute. I know you kept saying he was a Tellurite, but I'm like, he doesn't look anything like what do you think, Sarek, a Vulcan? I'm like, is that the same species? But now you see it, you go, oh yeah, he's kind of like, trailer trash.
Langley agrees. He thinks his amnesia is genuine, but his mind will come back to him. Maybe. We'll see. Mm-hmm. And he also real fast says he loves how shitty the Starbase guy was. It's understandable why he was on that base alone.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting? Because again, we're seeing less competent Starfleet people in a different way than, those terrible short treks. You're dumb. The guy from Archer, John Benjamin. Benjamin. And it's like, no, man. And again, it's because these people that are writing the live action stuff suck. And they don't know how to write subtle. And God damn it, it's the Y7 show that's achieving subtlety. And it just, again, it blows my mind, man.
And you'll always have in any organization some people that just squeak by the bar.
Sure.
And those are the guys that you put on the furthest starbase possible.
Yeah, like on Lower Decks. What was it? Deep Space 86 or whatever. It was like, oh God, I don't want to go there. But
that's the comedy, and I'm okay with that. That's okay. I mean, that's purely, again, that's being played.
No, but aren't we to believe that all this is one big universe somehow, even though it's in a different point of view? That Lower Decks exists in the same world as Prodigy.
We'll see. We'll see when they do the crossover. I hear what you're saying. I don't take it as, and again, Lower Decks is still, with those broad strokes of comedy, telling much more complicated stories than we're getting in the live action, again, with the slight exception of Strange New Worlds. My buddy Rob Hart, who's a big newscaster at our CBS radio station here in Chicago, and we're buddies, and he's a big Star Trek fan. He was like, I rewatched that last episode of Strange New Worlds. And I really, really liked it. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't want to shit in your punch bowl, but Captain Kirk sucked. The guy who played the Romulan captain sucked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these are the things that drive me nuts. And he's like, yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
He pointed me. I don't know if he's ever done a show for you, Mitch, or been at one of your shows, but Keith Candido or D Candido is a really good Star Trek novelist who I guess was reviewing Strange New Worlds for Collider. And he pointed me. I don't know if he's also doing it for the cartoons or whatever, but he pointed me to a review of the last episode of Strange New Worlds. And I'm like, I've had Keith on Word Balloon. Really good genre novelist beyond Star Trek as well. So,
are those online on Collider.com?
Yeah, if you're curious, I can forward you the link.
No, I watch so much stuff and listen to. I'm just.
It was print. It was but it was print. It wasn't.
It wasn't
a video.
Or
it wasn't audio. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant it was a podcast.
Oh, and Langley's aware of Keith's work. No, he's good. He wrote those Starfleet Corps of Engineer short stories that were ebooks and stuff in the early 2000s, among other. He's done Next Generation novels. He's done DS. I don't think he's done DS9. He might have done short stories, but no, he was a big pocketbook author in the rotation of.
Oh, okay.
Those guys.
The name sounded familiar. I was like, I know I've seen that before.
He's really good. No, he's fun to talk to.
I was going to say, what about the whole Merv subplot that he's evolved
I'm so glad
into
you brought
an egg?
that up, man.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that coming. I go, I guess he's got two legs now, and I'm like, what is?
It's almost like he's a caterpillar, like going through the
a metamorphosis. Yeah.
I just go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Man.
No, I'm just like, do we need another little kid character on the show? I thought he was better as a little blobby thing. I kind of like that. Like, it reminded me of the Herculoids. Remember they had Gloopy?
Yes, that's good.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the Shmoo.
Is Shmoo even Bob?
But no, you're right about the Herculoid comparison. No, and I agree, man. I am open to let's see what happens. With that character. But I'm like, oh no, he was cooler when he was just this little blob that could
they needed someone to be able to sit on the torpedoes buttons to. Fire in during.
I didn't realize they had a hair trigger like that. I'm like, wow.
Oh, that's funny. And I don't know where, but maybe Star Trek itself. Langley says they made a big to-do about Murph Online. Had a live stream of him.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's watching like the Panda Bears. Yeah, that'd be funny. No, you know what I hope they don't do? I hope they don't use him as like the other shoe. What is Deus Machina? He's going to save the day. We don't see it coming. Like the dad's going to activate the weapon and he's going to pull a Data or a Spock and save us all. And,
and eats it. Yeah. Right. Because I don't know. I do think it's odd that they buried the ship under all that snow. I was like, wow, I hope it doesn't wreck anything. Look, the good thing it was just soft snow and not a full avalanche, wreck those nacelles. And they've got a third nacelle on that ship. Because that's the protostar aspect.
So what was it, like in the middle, like where the shuttle bay was? Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's new.
I'm looking forward to holographic Janeway running into Admiral Janeway.
Yeah.
And having a conversation. But I want to go back to Okana for a second. I appreciated the idea of Okana, but I have to admit the execution of that episode. It's like, hey, I'm the outrage, and literally the title is The Outrageous Okana. It's like, I'm outrageous, and I love Billy Candle, but I'm like, not really.
Yeah,
I'm like kind of annoying, really. You're more the annoying Okana. But now, again, way to go, Prodigy. You've redeemed Okana in my eyes. Yeah. I love that it's Billy Campbell.
He was like their Cyrano Jones, just keeps popping up in the background.
Yeah, but even Cyrano Jones, I would say, in the live action and animation, was consistent, and I loved him in Trouble with Tribbles. And I mean, that's the thing, like, he is there for comic relief, but you just like, hey, I'm a smuggler, I'm whatever, and and I knocked up this chick, and even though he didn't, all that stuff, and it's like, all right, you're trying too hard, man. You're trying way too hard. And I blame the writers and actually the costumers more so than Billy Campbell. He's just working with what they gave him.
He's just reading a script, yeah.
So, Mitch, you got to get him. Come on,
I've tried. He lives in Norway. I've tried this 3 or 4 times, and it's a hefty price tag to bring him over. Just the flight from Norway to here, but no, I've tried to get him before COVID, and I can get a hold of him. I know where he is.
Come on, he's got Seal Award stories at the very least from that ABC romance drama that he used to do with Celia Ward back in
Oh
the
yeah,
day.
no. Plus, he was on that show. What was it, the 4100 or something, or the 1400?
Oh, the 4400.
Yeah,
That's
he
the
was
Ira
on
Bear
that.
show.
Yeah,
I
he
know
was
that.
on that show for a while.
I
Yeah.
never watched it. It's Ira Bear. I should watch it. I
He
like.
also played a Canadian police officer in the North.
Oh yeah.
It was based on some novels. I forget the title. It was a Canadian production, which was pretty good.
You know, he's heir to the champion spark plug fortune, so he doesn't have to. He does not have to worry about money. Yeah, his grandfather invented the spark plug for champion.
Cool.
Yeah, because I remember when he was going to marry Jennifer Connelly. It was one. Remember those weird romances like it happened with Scarlett Johansson and Ryan Reynolds? For some reason, actors get on a movie together for 2 or 3 months and they think they found their true love and they marry their co-star. It never usually works out. Very rarely that they stay.
Yeah, but I get it.
I mean, remember
they're thrown together for like 3 months or whatever, and and I mean it is kind of a little small community. So
I remember he was engaged to Jennifer Connelly when The Rocketeer came out. They were both had engagement bands on.
Well, he's a beautiful man.
That didn't work out. He is a handsome young man.
Oh,
actually, he's like
reminds us that
55 years old now. So,
is he? How old is he?
Oh,
yeah, probably 60.
Billy Campbell,
right.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Not no, I'm. What are you talking about, man? He's older than us, definitely. 4400 was Marshall Ali's first big break. I did not know that. Good stuff. I don't
even know if that's on anymore. It used to be on the Sci-Fi Channel, I think, or USA Network.
Well, USA, it was regular. It was a regular on USA. I don't know if it's on. That would be like Peacock streaming if it was streaming anywhere.
So many of those shows just disappeared. I'm like, I don't know where they went, but they're out there somewhere. Or that
some of them might have been joint productions, and because of that, may not have. And also, good Lord, some of the crap that's on Peacock, as opposed to the stuff we want, or Paramount, it's insane. So I don't understand why.
I wonder what happened to all that USA Network stuff. What happened to all the Swamp Thing shows, and who owned that stuff? I mean,
well, the old Swamp Thing was on DC Universe for a while.
But that's kind of like.
Well, that means that it's available. Yeah. I mean, it's not just like the Superboy.
It's available downstairs. I have the DVDs.
Oh yeah, the DVDs. Yeah.
No, I understand.
All 3 seasons.
But you know what else I liked about this episode of Prodigy in particular was it had a very Star Wars feel to it.
It did.
The planet they were on was Mos Eisley. I love that they just drop in the Xindi.
And that's where they were from.
Wasn't that great?
I couldn't figure out where I saw them from. I'm like, wait a minute. When's the last time we saw those guys with the peacock feather head thing? It was Enterprise, wasn't it?
Yep.
Jesus, it was racking my brains. I'm like, where episode was that on?
Well, and Janeway's got an Andorian first officer. I mean,
the ship that when they landed there, if you notice in the background on the Star Trek 3, I think it was, they used to use like this generic ship in the like a trader ship or something. The guy that was going to take McCoy. Remember, he got he was going to take him to Genesis. And they got that. Oh God, the girl got blown up. The Klingon woman,
the traitor the traitor that was making the deal.
The ship that they had was the ship that was in the beginning of it. It was the same. Yeah, I looked at it because I remember it was all engines.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, they're even using old models from the.
Yeah, they said it was like a trading outpost.
Yeah.
So no.
No, it's attention to detail like that the nerd in me goes, oh look, they've got that and they've got this, and the Xindi was there and O'Connor was there. That's your member berries working not as the main focus of the story like they do on Lower Decks, but just like a little wallpaper in the background, a little set dressing. Like
it adds to the story. It adds to the viewing experience.
If you know what it is, you get you smile. But it's not the main focus. Not like Lower Decks was like, oh my God, James Kirk did this here. Okay, we get it. This is based on a Star Trek.
It's funny. There's another YouTuber that I watch who I finally saw really going into detail what he didn't like about Lower Decks, and he goes, they substitute member berries for jokes. Yeah, and it's like, no, you're right. And again, I would rather knock live action Trek, especially Discovery, because again, it's like, well, where are all these other races? And yet, the dilithium thing
Ugh.
made us further apart. Bullshit. And also, I also think again, I hate like when there's just Ferengis literally standing there with their mouths open and they have no dialogue, and it's like the Zindi actually talked and they did stuff, and on this animated show, they actually had a purpose. They were security on this planet, so it's like, oh, isn't that interesting? Or again, the Andorian who objected to what Janeway was doing.
Yeah. First officer,
like,
no less. He's like, oh, you're clouded. Your personal involvement has clouded your judgment, Captain. I was like, whoa, we got a big mutiny thing going on the. Let's do the Captain Janeway TV show. That's what I was thinking too. I go, I know she's a hologram on this show, but I wouldn't mind watching her show.
Well, I think we're getting it. I mean, because really, that was an important part. And again, they're achieving all this in like less than 25 minutes.
I know. It was 23 minutes because I was trying to watch it tonight. I go, oh, let me see if I can get this in. And I turned it on. I said, okay, 23 minutes. That's probably the credits. No, it was actually like a full 22 minutes.
Okay.
And I had no commercial breaks. I don't know what's going on. It just went straight on through. I was like, all right, that's fine. I'm not complaining.
I bundled Paramount and Showtime, so I don't get the commercials anymore.
Oh, really? Oh, all right. No, I still.
By the way, I'm halfway through.
We don't get commercials either up here.
Oh, really?
Unless we don't get it on Crave, but if it's on the Canadian CTV Sci-Fi channel, it's just like regular TV. There's commercials, but if you stream it, it's not. There's no commercials.
Well, you can definitely tell where the scene breaks are because I was like, oh, it's going to be a commercial.
They do blackouts. Yeah,
and then it goes right in. Yeah.
Yep. No, that's how I get it. Yeah, there's still. Well, again, it's made for Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
So they are going to insert, and I have no idea. I don't watch it on Nickelodeon. I only watch it streaming. So Langley wants to know if the Showtime bundle is worth it. I think so. I think Showtime, and now also, and very quick aside, I also get it for the boxing. But I think they're making great documentaries. I do like their dramas and comedies that they make. Mm-hmm. I saw Fletch finally.
That's right.
John Hamm Fletch, and it's there, and it's good. I mean, I'm glad I didn't spend $15 to $20 to see it in the big screen. I don't feel cheated, but no, I'm glad. I'm like, no, this was entertaining enough, and I'd watch another John Hamm Fletch movie. I hope they make another one. So that's cool. Anyway, back to Trek. No, and even Jacob and Rock were a little less annoying.
Yeah.
To me. And again, I keep saying to myself, it's a Y7 show, whatever. That's fine. But no, I bought everything that was happening. I felt for Dal. I felt for Gwen. I'm caring about these characters as we initially said.
Hey, I like Janeway's. She said they're kids.
Yeah.
It's like she was dismissing the Starbase guy, going, "What? You let kids?"
Well, she's still Janeway, and even though they are making her in that Marvel hero versus hero sort of way, well, they're renegades on the run. I got to figure out what's going on. But by the same token, it's like, the idiot from the Starbase is, and it's like, relax, they're kids, so it's interesting. Oh, that's Langley says he loves how they've matured Rock. I'm not seeing it, but whatever.
No, she's not or he. Is it he or?
Oh, it's a she. It's a
she. Oh.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't sound as babyish. It still cringes when it's on, and and people walk by, and my wife's like, "What?" I go, "No, it's Star Trek. I know it sounds like a little baby, but trust me, it's not that bad."
No, I hear you, man.
God, if that voice was the only thing that they could change to just a little bit more monotone, even
a little older,
it wouldn't be. Yeah, it wouldn't be so cringy.
Oh, that's so cool! It's like,
yeah, I know.
Yeah. They could get Will Wheaton to voice it.
There you go.
Man,
that would be that might be not an improvement. I don't know. Maybe we'll keep it the way it is.
Steve Shives is a YouTuber that I watch a lot for his critiques, and he is much more positive about live action Trek in general. But finally, he put out a season 2, just total look at Picard season 2, and it's massive rip. And man, no like emotional support for Will Wheaton. It's like literally, as we said, you just walked off the ready room, and just had this pointless, fan service scene that did nothing but give Issa Briones an easy way out, and just crap.
And I'm not an actor, but I don't even play one on TV. But even I could tell when there's bad acting and good acting, and
of course,
just showing up and reading the lines. And when he showed up, he's like, I'm what you call a traveler. I'm just like doing. I'm just. I mean, did you even try? You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
mean, there's no emotion. Remember the old traveler from the show? I mean, it was like a bit player. He was like on a lot of shows that you
Yeah.
see, but he invested into it, and it's just the line delivery. You could just tell. But when you just see an actor show up and kind of just read the cue card
Just
and
walk
just
through it.
walk through exactly, that's what it reminded me of. And I was like, wow, would it take you about a half a day to film that? If
And
that,
it's
Walk
maybe?
through it, collect the check.
and it's disappointing because
Like he was
he
embarrassed to be there. Yeah.
well, yeah, I don't think it was that at all. But I don't know what his motivation was because contrasting that, really funny on Big Bang. He did
Yeah.
he did a numbers episode where he was the bad guy, and
Yeah,
I
he
think it was
was good on Big Bang. Every time he showed up, it might be the writing. Well, we know Picard had
well
tons of writing problems or
or
direction.
lack of direction,
Yeah,
and we need to get this in, do it, and let's just film this in kind of like when Samuel L. Jackson was on the Shield TV show, and he's just leaning back, and he's just kind of
yeah,
and literally it's like all right, every line I'm going to say just like this from this position, and it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
all right, whatever.
yeah, yeah.
So that's so funny. Wesley's just joining us. Good to see you, Wesley. I'll be interested in your thoughts on the episode of Prodigy. We're still talking Prodigy right now.
Oh,
How
the
many
one
more?
thing.
How many more do
Sorry.
we have left, John?
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. How many more episodes are there? Because it looks
I
like
don't.
this is almost going to be a cliffhanger, almost.
Yeah, but I don't know if there's going to be any sort of like. Well, next week. I mean, I'm assuming we're getting a new episode next week, although it is
Well,
Thanksgiving, so maybe
yeah,
they're taking a week off. I don't know. But I mean, I asked the Benson sisters because I'm like, when is your episode? I'm really enjoying this, and they're
yeah.
like, not until December 15th or around there.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, all right, well, are they going to take a break within this half of the season? I hope not.
Well,
But
Chakotay is the big MacGuffin. Once they find him, that's
oh
the
yeah,
that's the end of this arc. So,
well, or you're right. Maybe that is how the season's going to end. Is we're going to see Chakotay or see evidence of what happened to him. I hope he's still
well,
alive. And
it's it's their telegram. That bomb is gonna the protostar whatever weapon they have is gonna come close to it, and of course Janeway will have to team up with Janeway, and maybe Chakotay comes in at the like the cavalry and saves the day, and there's got to be one big epic.
well, of course, but
Oh,
I
I
don't.
know, but I'm just trying to say
We don't know
when
how they're going to
though.
arrive there, Mitch. I hear what you're
Yeah.
saying, but it's like, yeah, the goal is to score the touchdown. How do they get there? That's the question, buddy.
Well, because it's a kids show, you wonder how much they're like going to drag it out. Because not to say kids have short attention spans, but I can't imagine 12 episode arcs like they do on like Doctor Who and all these or
I have no idea.
Discovery.
Yeah, or like Lower Decks, no cliffhanger, and just I mean, dangling plot point, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, because how long can they? All right, let's actually attack it this way. How long can they be on the run from Starfleet? Can that really be like kind of like how Voyager was in the Delta Quadrant way too long? You know what I mean?
So you're saying if they find Starfleet, they actually found
Or
Starfleet
join it?
right now.
I don't know. I don't
and
know.
that's kind of like the end. It's like Gilligan's Island. They're not going to get off the island. So
I don't think they can't drag it on too long because, well, now they've identified the ship. They know the quadrant that it's in.
yeah.
All it takes is a few more starships, and then that's it.
What do
you have any insight on whether this was like a limited 3-season series or
nothing?
2?
No, and in fact, I know they're in the process of making season 2, and the Bensons are not part of the writing staff of season 2, unfortunately. So,
wait, you mean season 3?
No, this is the second half of season 1, buddy.
Oh, yes. They still classify this as season 1? Yes. I always think of it. Oh no, this is the second season.
No.
Wow. Okay.
I know.
So
I was surprised too.
Yeah.
I was surprised too, but no, this is, I assume, a 20 or so order, series. And again, makes sense from a Nickelodeon standpoint. Let me get Langley's point before we get to you, Wayne. Lang says, I keep thinking they're going to find a way to keep the kids on the ship away from Starfleet and the real Janeway, because Starfleet will never give them that ship on their own. And also Wesley says, I thought it was wonderful to see the Admiral Janeway on a big bad starship doing her thing. I agree, man. Absolutely. Go ahead, Wayne. What were you going to
But
say?
I can see that what they could do is it's called Star Trek Prodigy. Why don't they find the kids, they get the kids, they put them in Starfleet.
Right.
They
Right.
join
That's
Starfleet. Now
that's
we get a Starfleet show.
right. I agree. And yeah, they may not. We'll see what happens with
Yeah.
with the protostar itself. But
Mm.
right now, it's just another plot point. So we'll
Yeah.
see. But yeah, no. Again, I'm digging it. It blows my mind. Oh, all right, here, non-Prodigy thing, but Kelly Sudaconic was on with me last night. We were talking about Wonder Woman Historia, Volume 2 with Gene Haas. And she made a point. It was very interesting. And it was just an aside to explain a couple of the characters in Historia. But she brought up Kirk and the Kobayashi Maru. And I want to hear what you guys think. She said, when I was a kid and I watched that, she goes, I got it. And it was cool because Kirk was kind of a badass and changing the rules and everything. And she goes, now I think about it. And honestly, I want to hear what fans say about this as well. She's like, now I think about it, Kirk kind of like it's a shame. It made sense for the story, but really Kirk kind of missed the point by changing the rules. Because as we know, it's a question of how do you face the no-win scenario.
Mm.
And Kirk, well, I don't believe in the no-win scenario. Well, yeah, but guess what? There's life and there's reality. And obviously he experiences it in Star Trek too.
Mm.
So I get that. And it's like, okay, now, and it's funny because it is Spock who says, I never took the no-win scenario. What do you think of my solution? And really it's Kirk going, holy shit. This is the kind of thing that they were and it would have been great to hear Kirk say, I guess this is what they were trying to teach me in the academy years. And I never really realized it that way. But thoughts on all of that?
No, I agree. I think what you're saying is the truth. Kirk would never, ever accept the no-win scenario. I don't think it's in his character to accept it. And it's nothing bad. It's just he just can't accept that. He feels that he can cheat his way through anything and that he can win, whatever it takes. But I don't think he understands that there are times where there is no solution, that you're going to face defeat no matter what. And it's how you deal with that. That's what the Kobayashi Maru is trying to teach us. How do you feel? How do you deal with defeat? It's more important with how you can deal with that, because then you can move forward from that point.
Yeah. Like I was saying, is it a flaw in Kirk and a virtue? I don't know. Also, it reminds me real fast, Mitch, it reminds me of Troy when she was going through learning how to command. And she had to, in the holodeck, send Geordi to his death. And it's like, yeah, that's the solution, because sometimes you got to make that tough decision. What were you going to say, Wayne?
No,
or Mitch. I'm sorry, Mitch.
No, I always looked at it because the story always circled about how old he felt and, he was useless and all that stuff. And then when this happens, he's still learning. He's still the student, even though he was old. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, it was like the opposite, because at the very end, when his son comes in, he's like, I know nothing. And then it said, no, you do. No, you taught us that this meant more than that. And then he just gets that revelation. And then at the end, the whole movie, he says, I feel young. It's not just because Genesis is new life and all that. It's just because I think he's just still that young cadet back in Starfleet, even though it's been decades since he's been there. He never really matured, and he's always been that cocksure, fly by the seat of your pants guy that we all know and love. But he's still the student, and he's just discovered it for the first time. I mean, no matter how old he gets, he's it's
still learning.
The whole motto, out brave new worlds, and going where no one's ever gone before. It's all part of this character. I never thought it was a flaw. I just thought that was just his evolution. He's just constantly learning every single day. It's not,
and
it's not a dick.
No, well, no, he's not.
Okana would be a dick. So if you want to look at something like that, an Okana guy would cheat it just to fuck with it because he wants to make money or something. That's a dick, But
I hear you, man.
Kirk didn't do it for that reason. He was just like, hey, we're gonna keep going out and having fun, and don't rain on my parade.
And yet, even though Spock knew the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one, he always had the attitude of there is no-win scenario. There's always possibilities. There's always something else. And then, so that's interesting that there's that kinship between them. and even on different ways, they kind of arrive at that same. No, never give up, never surrender. Like Galaxy Quest, absolutely. So,
but I was gonna say he's the only person in the history of Starfleet to beat it by cheating. So all these other captains that we see, they all lost. They all failed the Kobayashi because there was no way you could ever beat the thing. But they never took it to heart, like a personal challenge. Like, well, fuck you, I'm gonna.
Right, but again, the lesson is there is reality that you're going to send people to their death, or you're going to have to face something that is unwinnable. There's a great Star Trek novel that's really several short stories of Chekhov, Scotty, and Sulu, and they're all in a shuttle, and it's minimal power, and they're waiting for Spock to rescue them essentially, and and the Kobayashi Maru comes up, and it's, well, how did you handle it? How did you handle it? And it's great because Sulu, when he took it, his grandfather, who was a serious mentor to him, passes away, and he's dealing with the grief of losing his grandfather. Scotty is the most fun story because, and I'm sorry, I'm partially spoiling, but he, in a very engineer sort of way, figures out a different solution, and they stop the test because they're like, what are you doing? And it's great, and it's so Scotty. And again, this is why the pocketbooks and all the novels of the original stuff is so worth getting into, because really, when the right author gets the assignment, I got to find out who wrote that one.
Did Scotty end up beating it because he worked his way around the program? Yeah, I'm not going to have the time to read it or find it.
I'm sorry, everybody, and I know, and forgive me because I do want to share it, and it is something that they wrote 30 years ago, but and I can't wait to get to Langley's point. But Scotty finds a flaw in the scenario, like finding a flaw in a computer game. And he just keeps destroying every time they throw more ships at him, and he figures out a way that they'll all blow up. And finally they stop it, and this admiral's like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I happened to notice that there's this glitch, and I just kind of capitalized on it. And they're like, we don't know if we should promote you or send you to engineering, because that's clearly where you belong more than command. And of course,
that's like the Lower Decks episode where with
Boimler?
the captain, with the captain, with Carol Freeman, where the engineers were going, oh, let's fix a problem because she's the one that needs help, and that's what engineers like to do, like to fix the problem.
Yes, and well, I was thinking of Boimler when he's in the scenario against the Borg, and he gets like an 87. He's like, 87, that's not enough, and he keeps taking it over, and he keeps getting higher and higher, and ultimately, to save everybody, he's got to accept like a 7% final grade, and just like, and he's so pissed off. So that was good. Oh, this is great. Langley goes, I bet that Burnham beat the Kobayashi Maru 3 times without even trying. She opened a wormhole to the center of the universe, and the great bird of the galaxy bestowed the ultimate power of the universe. Very nice.
God,
very nice. And I didn't remember that Nog took it, but they said Nog bartered so hard the program crashed.
Oh, that's funny.
I love that. I love that. That's fantastic. I don't remember that, Chris. Because I remember him taking a Starfleet Academy test, and one of them where he's fighting a battle scenario, and Jake just walks up to the viewer window, and he's like, "Hi, how's it going?" In the middle of the simulation, he's like, "Get out of here! I'm trying to figure this thing out." Hilarious. Do you not know a jailbreak when you see one? Oh, too goddamn funny. So yeah, that I loved when Cal brought that up last night, and it got me thinking about it. And also then go to the JJ movie and how shitty they made with Chris Pine. And it's like, man, come on. Right? Although I have to admit, in the book, they play it out, and it's very similar to the way Chris Pine plays it in the novel as far as Kirk's solution. And it is like the Klingons going, not the James Kirk. Oh my God. Oh, and they kind of just like are suddenly like, hey, we didn't know. Sorry. So, but it's so, everybody seriously read it, because again, the characters come through, and that's all we're looking for. That's why I'm excited about Jackson Lansing and Colin, and I'm sorry, I'm forgetting Colin's last name, Colin Kelly, I believe, what they're doing with the Star Trek Monthly for IDW. and what Campbell's got ready for the Star Trek Defiant book. That doesn't start till February. Good stuff.
What you're looking for is just quality writing, John. You're just saying.
Well, Mitch, as you know, I mean, that's what I've been beating to death.
Oh, I know.
It comes down to the writing. And you can't blame the actors.
No, we finally got what we wanted. All these years we wanted Star Trek to come back. Not only did it come back, it's on like all the time in different forms in each different era. You got classic stuff, you got Picard, you've got futuristic stuff, and here we are. You're like a pig in shit. You'd be happy as could be, but you'd be like, oh, wait a minute, I don't want this. And then you're like, oh, okay. Now I know how the Star Wars people feel. So
Langley is bringing it with his comments. I kind of wish we never saw how he beat the Kobayashi Maru. It's like Solo. I don't need to see every moment these characters have ever talked about in their past. Agreed. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I have caught up on Andor.
Okay.
I don't know where you are on it, Mitch, and I'll keep it general if you're not caught up.
No, I'm all caught up. I watch it every week when it comes out.
Guys, I'm serious. It's only gotten better. And again, what a serious, nuanced show compared to listen, I like Tales of the Jedi. It's a blast. And for only being 15 minutes long per episode and stuff, pew pew and lightsabers and the whole shot, they get it. They're killing it. But I really it's like an HBO drama that's Star Wars. That's the only comparison I can think of. And I love it.
Version of Big Little Lies.
Yes. That's a good comparison. Absolutely. But I mean, it's human drama. And this is life in the Empire and the formation of the rebels. And it's like, you've got my attention, man. You got my full attention. I love it. Blown away. Can you imagine, by the way, and again, because really the whole point of this show, sadly, sometimes is to skewer live action Star Trek. I frankly don't think the current writers are capable of writing a similar Star Trek show. I would love to see a show on Star Trek that, much like Deep Space Nine, focused on a space station or whatever, and you got into the spatial politics rather than the geopolitics of the Alpha Quadrant. The opportunity is there, and again, they've done it before in Deep Space Nine, but I would like to see Discovery really attack it. And so far, since they've been to the future, with the exception of showing us, there's the Orions, and they're still bad, and they still kind of play by their own rules. There was a real opportunity in season 4 with that deep space anomaly, or whatever the fuck they called it, dark matter anomaly, DMA. I can't remember what they called it.
Yeah.
But there was a real opportunity of, okay, we kind of know what the Vulcans or the Navarians think. Fuck you for merging the Romulans and the Vulcans. Dumb. They can be at peace with each other. Don't make them one race. Good Lord. But really, what do the Klingons think? What do the Andorians think? What do again, show us some real geopolitics for, again,
like
you know what I'm saying.
What? Like The Expanse that deals with geopolitics between the Outer Rims, Earth, and Mars.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Or Babylon 5 before that.
Babylon 5,
I mean,
absolutely.
That was the best when it came to talk. It was like watching the United Nations in space and all 100%. The backstabbing and all that. Yeah.
Right. And again, we know there's an opportunity to tell new stories because it's decades later from where things were with Deep Space Nine Deep Space Nine, TNG, and Voyager. And I don't think they're capable. But us Trek fans, we know of all these races. You don't have to introduce much, but what do they think? And also, again, with the fracturing of the Federation because of the lack of dilithium and stuff, maybe a lot of the races that we know have started doing their own thing, and it is harder and stuff. But they had opportunities. They showed us those big scenes where Book was pleading his case compared to what Burnham wanted to do, and it was simplistic shit.
Yeah. You know what? When you just said that, you know what would have been a good? Well, they're not doing it. Discovery, and this is like fan fiction in my head. But because they couldn't travel out to the stars.
Right.
Wouldn't it have been something if they went back to a planet? Remember the old show? They had the Organians that were all like, "This is not our physical being." They're like mind. They just evolved. And wouldn't it have been something if Discovery went back to like one of these planets that was a really go-getter into space travel, but because space travel was taken away from them, they had to go explore other ways. And whether it was like a trippy head trip, like they started like doing psychedelics or whatever. But wouldn't that be an episode where you go, "Oh, whatever happened to this budding race that we met years ago on the old Star Trek that we thought was going to be this futuristic, and now you go and they de-evolved, or they went backwards, or they turned into this space baby from 2001. You could have done so much because you've got that thousands of years, like what's been going on in closed doors between the last time we saw this race. But it's so untapped story potential that you got to go, oh, well, give it off to a comic book. We'll give it off to a novelization. That's not going to hit the main audience. It might get you, John, because you're a core Trekkie, but there's so much great story ideas that it's just gone to waste because you've got people that are running the show that really don't even respect the original material to go, yeah, maybe we should investigate what happened to Bajor, what happened to this other planet you saw, or Cardassia, or whatever, But
what happened with the founders?
Yeah, exactly. There's so many things. What happened to Gary Seven's people? What happened to this people?
We went back to Trill. And to quote the Talking Heads, it was same as it ever was.
Right.
And nothing. And we went back to Earth, and Earth is xenophobic now. All right, whatever. Yeah. But it's like it's so rote and simplistic. And yes, Langley agrees and says, yes, a political thriller in Trek would be great, and not a Section 31 show. You can get a good, thoughtful show out of it. That's what I thought Picard was going to be, and I completely agree. And again, man, Picard could not shit the bed harder in 2 seasons as it has. We'll see what Terry. I hope again. I have hope and faith in Terry Matalas.
Yeah.
We'll see what
I'll tell you, all these Treks have always had a great time travel show. No matter which Trek it is, there's always one episode where they go back into the 60s, the 30s, whenever, the 50s, and there's always a good one. Discovery's never had that, and I don't know why or where or whatever. They did the thing with the Guardian Forever, but that wasn't really a good one.
Well, it was an alternate. Yeah.
But,
and also they played with the time crystals, which is a bunch of shit. I'll be honest, Mitch. I hear what you're saying, and I agree. Because God, you're right. I liked the Voyager when they went to the 90s. Yeah. I love
Enterprise when they went to the 50s and she invented Velcro. There's always those little kitschy things. It's like, hey.
Star Trek
God
4.
knows Star Trek 4. You gotta know the original show did it like 4 or 5 times, but
Assignment Earth,
Deep Space Nine did it with the whole homeless thing and
past tense.
Gabriel, whatever his name was.
Gabriel Bell.
Gabriel Bell. See, I'm saying those because those are good stories that reflect on our society and they teach us things, but Picard fucked it up. They got to come back to today and you're like, oh, this is funny. He's gonna see all the shit we're dealing with now with the crazy presidential stuff, that. They didn't touch any of that. I'm like, this is your moment to speak out.
They touched it and they touched it and they dropped it. They had the whole thing with Rios being picked up by ICE.
Yeah.
And
they let him go.
Well, he got out, but also as I was watching Steve Shives talk about this in his review, literally not 12 hours later, he's at the cocktail party for Picard's astronaut ancestor. Yeah. He's like, I like the 21st century.
Hey,
I'm having a real cigar. It's fantastic. And it's like, weren't you being tortured by immigration just 12 hours ago?
Wouldn't it be something
for you
if you had a strong female character, say like a 7 of 9 or that other woman that was hanging around with Picard, the Romulan, and they went into like, and again, I'm not going to piss anybody off, but they went to Iran and they saw women being tortured or beaten because of the headdress or something. Wouldn't that be, well, we can't offend anybody in the Muslim community. We're not talking about that. We're talking about human rights and all that stuff. Wouldn't that be, that's what Star Trek was all about in the 60s. And it's amazing to me that 55 years later, they can't touch stories, ideas that they used to just,
but they're not,
I don't know.
But again, Mitch, they're not afraid of putting it out there in the ICE way, and they botched it. So I hear what you're saying, and certainly from a more international standpoint, but there's more than enough complicated issues of today happening in our own country that,
Right.
frankly, and they even tried with Strange New Worlds. Oh, the strife in the 21st century led to World War III, and it's
Yeah.
like, again, I think they kind of they're cliff notes. They're not. It's not a
Yeah.
real, and that's why it's a different subject. But that's why they've opened the door for Strange New World season 2, in
Mm.
terms of, let's talk about augments and let's talk about
Okay.
the eugenics and everything.
Yeah.
Let's see what they do with it, because if it's, well, Starfleet, you're wrong, and then it's like, well, that's great. Congratulations on dealing with the obvious. There
Yeah.
is another cogent argument why it's a bad thing. You better present both sides, and if you don't, you fucked up again. But that's me.
Well, they could do it so subtly, just with an alien race, without like, well, we didn't really say it was this country. We're talking about our Bluebians from another planet, and you know damn well that's how Good Trek was
Well,
written.
like
Like,
what
Sure.
they did with
it's not
the
in your
kid,
face. Yeah,
Yeah,
the kid who had to
allegorical.
be hooked up to the planet.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah. See,
Right.
they know how to do it. I know they do.
Well, we just need more of it. You're right. I agree with all that. Yes.
And they want to be cutting edge. That's the funny thing. You see them; they want to be progressive. You know why they want it? Because they tell you they're progressive, which is amazing to me. It's like they get those panels and like, we're the first one to do this, and we're the first one to do binary. I go, why don't you show us instead of telling us you're doing it? Just write some story. We'll figure it out.
Hey, man. Like I said, the Adira, the human Trill. What a waste of it! What a waste of a character so far in 2 seasons. And again, it's like, all right, all you've done is closed off the most interesting thing about Trills, that they can tune into their past lives. And it's instead you've given us a very boring character that is thrilled to tell you how non-binary they are. But beyond that, not so much.
Wouldn't it be something
Not
if
so
the Trill
much.
found out in its past it wasn't a good guy? It was like a Hitler.
Well, like Duran.
I mean,
like Jadzia. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's a hell of a story. It's like, oh yeah, I know I'm helping everybody now, but about 400 years ago, I slaughtered about 5,000 people because I was a fucking not nice guy.
Yeah.
But,
Langley is right about this. They're also preoccupied trying to make our reality line up with Trek history, which is pointless. It's a different universe entirely. That's what Rob Burnett always says. It's like, don't try to connect the dots with what's happening here, because it really is an alternate history that went a different way because of the ideas that Roddenberry, Gene Kuhn, DC Fontana, and the like were thinking about in the 60s. Wouldn't it be great if we get to this point? And right now it's like, yeah, I don't know how realistic a one world federation or government leading to a federation of planets.
The only show that does it successfully every episode is For All Mankind. They do a different history. It's well written, well acted. The visual, I mean, that show is across the board.
Love it.
Plus, is straight up, and they tackle stuff. You're like, what do you mean? Why is this woman in charge here? Well, they wouldn't let women onto the show, and you're like, holy shit, that's so stupid. Oh, wait a minute, that's what's going on now. And you know what I mean? And it's like it's subtle, it's well written. You're invested in it, and then you learn about yourself through entertainment. Going, wow, we really are fucked up if this is what we do, and that's good science fiction. That's like taking what could be and and make our reality what could be. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, they're dealing with modern social issues, and showing us the consequences, not telling us, well, this is the way it should be and everything. Well, here it is. But with the same it's interesting because it is different. I mean, you well know, Mitch, because obviously you're caught up as well. The idea is not only behind the woman that's in charge of NASA, but also the president and the female commander for NASA that goes to Mars and stuff. All that stuff is rife with serious women issues, the obstacles of women's issues, the obstacles of people of the gay lifestyles issues. And it's just part of the story because, again, it's great writing and great acting.
Well,
and it's very relatable without, hey, how you doing?
Is it? Do you think now, looking back at the title, that it's not coincidence, or that it's called For All Mankind, and they do have this female slant to the whole story? Because it's like, hey, even our title is saying, oh, one small step for man, one giant, but we're talking about the entire human race here.
Well, I hear what you're saying. I didn't take it that way, but again, I'm a middle-aged white guy, so maybe I think everything's for all mankind.
I'm only about 2 years younger than you.
Well,
so.
there you go, man. Well, I'm gonna hang on to that middle-aged thing until I hit 60. I got 58 staring me in the face in literally 2 goddamn weeks. But anyway,
I'll beat you guys
what
to
I am gonna
60,
say
that's
is,
for sure.
unlike these other shows, and the Expanse is like this too, you've got significant male stories happening alongside the female stories.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean,
that's
I know,
the difference. That's the difference. I mean, that's so.
But back to Andor, since that's what we were talking about.
Sure.
I gotta admit, I was not happy with the pacing in the first couple episodes because I said my Star Wars is whiz bang comic book excitement, but not a PBS masterpiece theater version of it. Which then I did, but I did appreciate it, and I do love the speeches that are given by Skarsgård. I do love Circus's deal. I love all that. The irony of the prison break. I can't swim. All that. It's like, you got to be shitting me. You got all that way, and now you can't go to the promised land because of this. And I'm like, don't they have like boats? Don't they have to get supplies? But anyway, I get too critical about that. But the only problem I have with Andor is because we know what's going to happen to him. That just any of these prequels, it just takes a little bit of the edge off of it because eventually he's going to find with Rogue One and he's going to get and it sucks because you want to root for the guy, just like Captain Pike in a way. He's on a doomed mission. He's not going to make it, but you still watch it and you kind of deep down, like that Elvis movie, to get really far up. I was so loving that movie that in my head I'm like, God, I hope somebody comes and saves Elvis so he doesn't go down the path with the drugs and overdoses at 42. And that's not reality. That's what's going to happen. Belushi's going to die at 33. Farley's going to, there's nothing you can do to change it. Kennedy's going to get shot. But if they do it so well, you're like, I love this guy. This guy's great. Oh, fuck.
Well, it's killed. Like The Walking Dead has sort of screwed it up because when they announced their sequels, you know exactly who's living.
I know. I couldn't believe they did that. Somebody's like, "Oh, well, this Rick's there, and this one's there." I go, "There goes the tension for the last episode of The Walking Dead."
This weekend's like, the last episode.
The ones who don't have a spinoff show aren't gonna make it out.
But that's the thing is,
whatever.
Just like in Star Trek, and I think it was a bad move. But when they killed Trip, nobody saw that coming.
Yeah. No, and I think it was shock. I think it was shock value.
And again, but also. You mentioned Andy Serkis, obviously. I mean, that's the thing. There are enough side characters that I'm interested. But I hear what you're saying, Mitch, and I don't disagree that it does kind of take away some of it, knowing that, well, he's obviously got to survive because of Rogue One. Right. But again, it's the journey. How did he get there? And that's what this story is, how he got there. But I agree, man. That is the massive problem with prequels in general when you put characters in that are going to survive. That's why Rogue One, to me, was an interesting story because we didn't know. We knew that it ended with the rebels getting the Death Star plans, but what happened to this group? We don't know. We didn't know, and that's why it was interesting. I don't know, man.
Just like the Black Widow movie, if it would have came out a few years earlier, it would have been a better movie.
Agreed.
Because you knew Scarlet was dying.
Yeah,
and that. Okay, this is just a cool movie, but that's about it. There's no real
tension.
It felt like contractual obligation. We told her we do a Black Widow movie. That's all we're doing this for, just because we got a deal. There was no investment. You didn't learn anything. Oh, she got a vest from her sister. Big fucking deal,
Langley wants us to continue following Mon Mothma.
That would be good.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Quantum Leap, really, I didn't have a chance to, be finished with it last week when it wrapped up, and now I have caught up. Have you caught up, Mitch?
I haven't watched it. No.
Oh, you're not watching it? No. All right, well, then we'll just say, Wayne, I mean, I got to be honest, because we're on the mid-season hiatus now. I'm a little disappointed that all we learned was, he's traveling because something's going to happen to Addison or whatever her name is.
Yeah. And on the A episode, the storyline with the kids running away from the prison camp, couldn't care less.
Well, but honestly, though, Wayne, don't you feel like even that last Quantum Leap episode where the thing was they had to save the guys in the mine, it was just there to be there. And the real juice should have been the B story about Project Quantum Leap and what's going on. And like I said, I just felt I'm looking forward to talking to Ben Rabb. We haven't scheduled it yet. I got to email him and make it happen. and it'll be before Quantum Leap comes back. But yeah, I was really hoping for a little more, and a little more, either what Ben's story is or what getting to Sam, another clue towards Sam.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not getting that right now. So it's like, all right, I mean, and again, I still like it enough.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's good. I think the B story is better than a lot. The A stories are good, but it's the B story that I'm really interested in, finding out why did he do the jump?
Right.
Why is Al's daughter helping him?
Yep.
Like I'm more interested in finding out exactly why that is taking place, as opposed to just Sam leaping into the "I'm going to help this person of the week" story.
Right. You know, it's funny too. Again, this guy Steve Shives, who I don't always agree with at all, and more times than I disagree with him, but I give him credit for his deep dives in exploring this stuff. And he's like, I want to know more about the A stories, and I'm like, no, man, we had 5 seasons of that with Scott Bakula, and it's fine for the weekly convention of, well, he's traveling through time, he's solving these problems. And I do think, even with I agree with you, I think this kind of Stand By Me story, it really wasn't Stand By Me, but you know what I mean, the kids, with all their problems and stuff, it was the weakest of the A stories they've given us so far. But I think they do a good job of, this is the problem of the week, and this is what's happening with the big story. I think they're I think they're handling that well enough. But I agree with you. It's like, you got to give us more, and especially on this while we're heading into a hiatus. I don't know if they're going to go back and when they're going to start reruns. I would imagine after the holiday specials that are likely to start happening next week and through Christmas and everything. I don't know, but it's like, I would have liked a little bit more, but that's me.
So. Star Wars Tales. Everyone watch those?
Oh yeah,
I haven't watched them all, but I really love it. I really love it.
One sitting, I watched them all. I liked it that much.
Well, yeah, they're certainly short enough.
Yeah,
but no, they're great. They're great, and again, animation killing it.
Yeah, animation killing. And if they told more backstory about Count Dooku and Qui-Gon Jinn, I'd watch that all day. I'm like, yeah. Even though I do know what happens to both of those characters,
right?
There's like 20, 30 years of backstory that I don't mind finding out.
But now you have a better understanding why Count Dooku is just like, I've had it with this whole Jedi thing.
Yeah.
And the Jedis are really dicks at the end of the day.
They are.
They are not the saints that
the
galaxy proclaims them to be. They're actual dicks.
No, they're so full of themselves. It's kind of like the cool kids in school. It's like, yeah, we're up here. They're the elitists, and you're like down below, and Jedi.
Oh yeah, just like. Did you see the episode, John, where Dooku and Mace discuss about the council member?
Yes.
Where it's like, and then he goes, "Did you know that you were going to go on the council?"
And Mace goes,
"Oh." Yeah. It's just like, fuck, these guys are nothing but dicks.
We need that. Oh God, what are they called in South Park? The Canadians, the duo.
Oh, Terrence and Phillip.
Terrence, we need a Star Wars Terrence and Phillip to come out and go, yeah, you Jedi, you're all dicks, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's why it's so funny. Today's the day, 24 years ago, that the trailer premiered for episode 1, The Phantom Menace. It was today. It was shown with that video, Wing Commander or something like that. It was, or
I remember that movie. Yeah, the FPGA movie.
Yeah,
I loved that game. It was a terrible movie, but
we would go buy tickets for that just to watch the trailer for Star Wars, because if you had to download it on your 56.6 modem, it would take you a day to get something that was about that big, that little tiny screen. And we're like, oh my God. And we're all staring at it like every journey begins with one step. Oh my God. And Anakin meet Luke. Oh, it's going to be the great. Jar Jar's going to be the shit. Little did we know. Little did we know. But I remember seeing that movie, and it was talk. Oh, Trade Federation. Oh my. And you're like, oh my God. And then
that was the original ideas.
I know, but when you watch it,
it's just the talking head.
And when you watch Andor and they're sitting around that table and they're like, oh, what about this? Oh, I don't know. What about, I go, oh my God. It's not all whiz bang flying by the seat of your pants with blasters and laser bolts. It's a bunch of bureaucratic. They're just like the Jedi. Everything in Star Wars is a bunch of committees. They're all like, yeah. Let's talk
Do you remember
about
when
that.
The Simpsons made fun of that when they showed the Phantom Menace, and Bart's like, "God, boring."
Yeah.
But you gotta say,
Go
when
ahead.
you saw the original poster with young
Yeah.
Anakin
With
and
the
then
shadow.
the shadow of
Yeah, oh,
Vader,
yeah.
you're just going, "Oh, this is going to be the best."
Greatest show ever. It's going to be unbelievable. And then what happened? But you know what? And we live in a world now when you sit there and you go, wait a minute, Russia's invading Ukraine because there's an oil pipe that they want to get the oil to Germany. And you're like, wait, you're killing people because of something fucking minor like that. And then you go, oh, wait a minute. I saw this in Star Wars when the Trade Federation boycotted Naboo and they couldn't get through. And then a little tiny thing happened. And next thing you know, wait, they made their own attack. The Emperor's running both sides of the game here. It's almost like they're, wait a second. Oh, never mind. Gulf War 2, whatever happened there. Weapons of mass. It's amazing, though, because it's made as children's fiction. But Lucas was so smart, and I'll always give him that. But he's trying to tell you the evils of the world under the guise of children's entertainment. So we all learned from it in the 70s, and we all grew up like, wait a minute. A corrupt leader who's trying to pretend he can't leave office, and he's staging his own rebellion. Well, what the fuck is this? Oh my God, I saw this in Star Wars, and here we are.
Langley says, you know how Star Wars was better when Lucas collaborated with and had others editing him. The prequels were pure uncut Lucas, and that's what ruined it. And Wesley says, those are my broke should have had on college years. I didn't even have the internet then. Sure, man. I get it, and honestly, I understand the love, and obviously you guys are showing us the contempt for the prequels and certainly the contempt for Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's why, man, like they say in Pulp Fiction, you're either an Elvis fan or a Beatles fan.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a Star Trek fan because I like Star Wars enough, but I don't burn with desire or like, oh my God, I got to watch this. And
really?
I love the current animated product. I love Andor. And I had my problems with the Obi-Wan series. I love Mandalorian, but I was indifferent. I liked the last prequel.
Oh,
Rise of Skywalker?
Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, Revenge of the Sith. Yeah.
No, the sequels.
Oh, yeah. The prequels
suck hard.
Yeah.
The only new Star Wars movies that I've really enjoyed were Rogue One. And honestly, I like Solo. I'll admit. Again, it's not a great movie, but it was a good enough movie for me.
It was better than the other three.
Yeah. No, the sequels suck shit. Didn't I read somewhere that, and I'm assuming it's going to be Poe Dameron or somebody, that maybe a character or two from the sequels will be involved in future movies?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be Oscar. It depends on how much money they throw at people.
Of course.
I don't believe in artistic integrity anymore.
Yeah, but honestly, Mitch, I think John Boyega and Daisy Ridley are like, goodbye. That's enough.
Oh no,
and I don't blame him.
No,
I don't blame him at all.
Boyega, they gave him a shitty.
Oh, they fucked him
deal.
over. They fucked him over hard.
Yeah,
and we were really and again, back to trailers. When you see that stormtrooper pop up and it's John Boyega,
it's him.
Like, what the fuck?
I always thought he was going to be the hero of the trilogy. I'm like, that's the Force Awakens. It turned a stormtrooper into the good side. Yeah. That's the Force trying to correct the off course. Yeah, and I always thought that was the story, and they fucking threw it away. They made him like, oh yeah, we got to put him on a planet with a racehorse. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? But anyway. Well, yeah, he was so screwed over.
I agree with Langley. He's like, there's no
way.
And
Daisy Ridley,
they told her story. They told her story. Goodbye. And also, she saw, again, like, I haven't heard as much from Isaac, but it sounds like Ridley and Boyega are like, yeah, that's enough. That's enough.
I believe it. Well, in 30 years, if they don't have any work and we're all still here, hey, look who's back in the movies, But.
And Mitch, I'm sure you're following the breadcrumbs we're getting so far about Indy 5.
I'm the guy posting this stuff. Thank you. TheRaider.net. People are like, hey, I go, hey, fucker, I'm the guy. For 20 years, I'm the Raider.net guy, the IndyCast guy. As soon as those pictures dropped at noon, on Empire magazine. I was putting the covers all over the place, and then they had a picture of Harrison on a boat, and everyone's like, "Oh, look, he's got a wedding band on." I'm like, "I know, it's going to be so good, right?" So
Mitch,
yes, I know all about it.
Well, the trolls have been, and I want to know your opinion. Let me say what it is first before you give me your opinion. What I've seen the trolls complain about is the fear that Phoebe three name
Waller,
who is awesome in Fleabag, and I think she's a hell of a writer. But the fear is that they're going to pass the whip to her. What do you hear? What do you think?
All right, something I saw that go out. Oh, there's been a test screening and people were screaming and booing and walking out, and Harrison gives the thing. Here's the deal. Mangold, the director, came out on his own Twitter and said there was no screening. This is complete utter bullshit. Okay. So I feel bad for the director because he's going to have to put up with this for the next 10 months with these guys trying to sabotage his movie.
Mitch? Are we not getting it till 10 months from now?
Yeah, June 30th.
I didn't know.
Summer release.
November.
Well,
okay,
fine. 8 months. 8 months.
Yeah, it's close enough.
But still.
But these people, just like anything else, they're out there trying to sabotage something without any factual information. They want to sink it for whatever reason happens. And look, I don't know what the story's going to be, but I know the indie TV is in development over at Variety. Reported that. So they're going to do it. So there's going to be an Indiana Jones, the guy with the hat and the whip, somewhere along the lines. And the reality of it, he's 80-something years old. If this is a swan song and he disappears like into the lost horizon, and we don't know, we never found Dr. Jones's body.
Oh, I hope that happens.
And that's what I think is going to happen. He's just out there somewhere on a never-ending adventure into the great unknown. And that would be the perfect way to end it. And if she wants to go investigate mysteries like he did, that's fine. Is she going to wear a leather hat and a whip? No, that's Tomb Raider. They're not going to be that stupid about it. They're going to leave Indy off to the side. But that's what I think. But again, I can't believe Mangold is out there answering people on Twitter, like one-on-one, like, hey, listen here, Basement Dweller 122. This never happened.
The same thing. Metalis did the same.
Did he? Oh, because I'm like, wow, you're giving into these people? Because I'm always the one, let them talk. Proof's in the pudding. But if I don't know how freaking vile these people can be and how much power they have.
Well, also,
I'm sure on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a negative 1,000.
Yeah, but
I don't know. Hate sells more than positive.
Yeah,
and truly, I don't want my Star Trek frustrations to dominate, and that's why I'm so happy that Prodigy is as good as it is. That Lower Decks seems to have turned a corner in the best way.
Yeah.
Strange New Worlds is as good as it is, and all the good stuff we're hearing about Picard season 3 with Metalis and everything. I am hopeful. And again, I certainly, James Mangold, as Langley pointed out earlier, has a great track record. So I know the franchise is in good hands. And further, Mitch, yes, if this is Harrison's fourth swan song, and it should be because he is 80 years old.
It is.
But that said, fine, there are so many years in between movies to explore. And I know I've told you this before, and I love Baltazar's suggestion that before we go to a brand new full-fledged indie, give Sean Patrick Flannery one movie. One movie, because he's old enough and he's already been Indiana Jones. I mean, like we believe him. Yeah. So it's like, throw him that bone. But if not, fine. Again, I mean, I loved at the beginning of Crystal Skull when Indy and Ray Winstone was like, remember our time in World War II when we were doing X, Y, and Z? Let's see it. Let's see all that. Again, there is plenty of room for another version of young Indiana Jones. If you want to go back to River Phoenix or Patrick Flannery back in the day, whatever.
Here's the weird thing. Could retire to the island where Tales of the Gold Monkey takes place.
Yeah, with Stephen Collins. Ooh, don't go there. But here's the weird thing about that. Hey, I loved Tales of the Gold Monkey.
I watched it.
I loved Decker. I loved them all, but then I can't,
Well, that's the actor. That's not the story.
I know, but the actor's pretty shitty, so you can't. Some things I can't overlook sometimes. But the thing I've heard from good sources, very high up in the comic community, and I can't say who, but you know who they are. I'll tell you offline. But they said the reason why a lot of that backstory stuff hasn't happened with Indiana Jones is because Spielberg, not Lucas. I would have thought it would have been Lucas, but Spielberg has nixed a lot of the stuff that was going to be. We're talking comic books, we're talking novels, we're talking some video game stuff that they were all in development. There's a whole book that was written and at the press that was ready to go, a novelization a couple years ago, and Spielberg put the kibosh on it, and it's done. They did a radio adaptation of like an audio drama.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's out there. It's free, of course, because you can't get money on that. But
I'm gonna have to look for that.
And the reason why some of the comic books got canceled is because Spielberg kiboshed them. I don't know why he would do that. And there's this whole thing ever since Schindler's List. He came back. He didn't want to portray the Nazis as comic book characters because of the reality of it and who the vile monsters that the Nazis were. So why keep making them like Hogan's heroes? I get that.
Well, they don't need to be. Yeah, they don't need to be.
But there's other people. There's like, oh, the Russians were the bad guys. Okay, they never did an Imperial Japan is rife with legends and mythology and all that stuff. So Indy can go there, but maybe they don't want to piss off the Japanese market because Disney's a big player in Japan and with all the fantasy. I get that.
But you could also create
it's a story.
You could create a fifth column spy ring like the way they did in Captain America and
Hydra.
Exactly. So there is that. I agree with you, Mitch. And also, God, Frank Darabont wrote a screenplay that was rejected.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, all these great high-powered writers and stuff. You got to send me the audio link.
Oh, yeah, I will.
I would love to hear that.
I remember I interviewed in Darabont. So funny. The only reason why I went to the Walking Dead panel the day before the show premiered is to interview Frank Darabont because he was there. So I wasted all my questions on Darabont. And there's Kirkman sitting right there. I didn't ask Kirkman one fucking question. And the two of them got up to go to the other table. And who sits down? But John Bernthal and Andrew Lincoln. And I didn't know who the fuck they were.
Right.
And they go, do you want to interview us? I go, no, I got to go down the hall. I'm supposed to interview a guy at Lucasfilm about the new Indiana Jones movie. I'll see you guys later. And they just like, and years later, I kicked myself. I go, there was Bernthal, the Punisher, and Andrew Lincoln. And I'm like, I got no time for you guys. Goodbye.
That's what happens, man. So, exactly. No,
you never know. You never know.
You're absolutely right. Langley wants to know, is there an indie game still happening?
There was supposed to be a new one from, I'm going to say maybe Bethesda. I remember reporting about this about a year ago. I have no idea what happened to that game. It was in development, and then it just...
Well, but as you say, they are developing a TV show.
They are.
So somebody's relaxing, and I would imagine that it's a different world now.
I know he's not. He can't go shooting people cold blood. We don't live in that world anymore.
No, but what I mean is to be precious with the franchise and not allow any of these other ancillary things. I hear what you're saying about that as well. But we'll see. We'll see.
I don't know if that's true or not because I thought that would be a thing. Like, oh, you can't have the hero to shoot people. I watch Andor, and Cassian Andor, he's fucking shooting people point blank left and right. He's like, this is a war. So I don't know if how realistic they want to make Indiana Jones. Do they want to make him like he was in Raiders and how he was back in The Last Crusade? Or is he more sanitized now and he doesn't shoot? Like Captain America, it took me out of Captain America, even though I know World War II Cap had a gun and all that stuff. But when he came on screen in the first Avenger and the door bursts open and he's got like a shotgun and a pistol, I'm like, ooh. Oh, yeah, that's right. Cap used to have a gun in World War II because I'm used to the shield growing up.
But that's the Ultimates version of Captain America.
No, even back in the day. Bucky always had a machine gun in those 40s comics. It's like, whoa, you gave a 12-year-old kid a fucking Tommy gun and he's killing Nazis? It's a different world. I get it. But, I don't think we're going to see that on Disney Plus anytime soon.
We'll see. We'll see. Again, I as long as you tell a good story, everyone is capable of telling a good PG-13 story. So it all comes down, as I've said many times, it all comes down to the writing.
Well, they said Abner Ravenwood was back to the TV show, the Disney Plus show. Again, it's all internet rumor shit. So one of them, when I heard, was Abner Ravenwood was going to be the main guy. That's Marion's dad. And Indy was his apprentice, learning from him. Mm-hmm. So you could do young Indy like they did with the old show.
Oh, that's interesting.
But now he's traveling the world with Abner Ravenwood.
Sure.
But we're not going to dare go the fact that Indy's 10 years older than Marion. And it's like, hey, I was a child. It's called statutory rape, Indy. we're not going to talk about that because he was supposed to be in his 20s.
I understand.
And she was like 15 years old, which is kind of icky unless you're Jerry Lee Lewis and you're dating your cousin.
No, I'm with you, man. No.
There's they're never going to touch that again. It's like,
well, and as Langley points out, the Deadpool movies and Logan are on Disney Plus now.
Yeah.
So and again, they've got parental controls if they want to keep that stuff from the kids and stuff.
I think Andor's very violent for a modern day Star Wars story.
Oh yeah. Oh no, the Prison Break. God, they were wiping out guards left and right. So before we say goodbye, if it's okay, guys, if you still have time, I want to acknowledge because beyond replaying my Justice League table read where we had Kevin Conroy, and also I played a clip of the press junket for Killing Joke mentioning Indy and Marion's inappropriate younger relationship, certainly the controversy behind Batgirl and Batman in that movie, the way it was portrayed, especially having the animated series voices. But I want to talk about Kevin Conroy for a second. And Mitch, obviously, I think you probably had the most experience. And pardon me, Wayne, maybe you did as well. I met him a handful of times. I'm really glad I saw him last summer at your show, Mitch. He didn't look good. And it really
no.
He really did look sick back then.
I was in the loading dock in the back when he pulled in from the train station, and I talked to him through email and on the phone. So I was like, "Oh, it's Kevin. I've known him for years." As God is my witness, I didn't recognize him when he got out of the car, and I said, "Oh my God, who's that?" And they go, "That's Kevin Conroy." I go, "That's not Kevin Conroy." And then I went up, and it was Kevin, and of course he sounded like him, but yeah, he kept taking breaks and he kept sitting in the chair in the green room and you saw him, John. He was taking little naps. Yeah.
Him and Susan and I, drank coffee together and I visited, but no, I really left him alone because, and Susan was so sweet. She's like, "John, have Kevin on the show." Yeah. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, he seems not to be well. I certainly didn't think anything terminal was happening. But I'm like, maybe when he feels better, I've got his email. I'll, whatever. Yeah. And he was still a great guy.
Oh, God,
good spirits.
The show must go on. He was out there. He signed every autograph. He had the longest lines. I'll tell you one thing, and I mentioned it on the podcast I do with Jerry. It's the stuff behind the scenes that too, John, that the public doesn't see. So I'm in the photo op area talking to the photographer, and Tim Daly comes walking in with Susan and Kevin Conroy to do their photo ops with the fans. So before everybody came in, Tim Daly never did a convention before. This was the first time he'd ever gone out and met the fans. So he was telling Kevin Conroy, he was like, "I can't believe how amazing this weekend has been." And Kevin goes, "Isn't it something else? They just want to talk to you. They just love the Batman. They just love Superman. All they want to do is just tell you how much they appreciated your work. It's very humbling." And Daly's like, "I had no idea this is what it was going to be like. It's all they do is tell me how much the show meant to them and what it inspired them and how it got them through tough times." And Kevin goes, "I know. I've been doing it for 30 years. The fans, it's a whole new level you never thought you'd get to as an actor." And I'm watching the two of them just talk about this. And I'm standing right there going, "Excuse me, big fanboy here. That's the reason why you guys are here, because I grew up with you guys too." And then oh, hey Mitch, how you doing? But I was like, that brief moment to hear him, he didn't know I was paying attention. He was just
you're a fly on the wall.
Yeah, and they were just talking through his heart, and he said, I just love the fans and they love the whole interaction. It's just amazing to me. So yeah, that was something else to find that news out. I saw it from Poison Ivy, Diane Pershing.
Yeah,
it came across first, and I said, "Oh, Diane, what the hell?" I was like, "This isn't true." And then I saw two other people, and then I heard from an agent. I told you about it, and you go, "What's your source?" Because it wasn't even on the wire yet.
Well, that's honesty, Mitch. That's why. Yeah, you're texting us early morning.
Yeah,
I'm like, really?
I found out from a friend of his. That's how, and it happened Thursday. It happened the day before, and they were waiting for a press release to come out, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And I posted it, and people were like, "This isn't true." I'm like, "No, it's true, all right." And he passed away, but yeah, it hit me that night. Even though it's like, "Oh yeah, Kevin, it's too bad he didn't look well." But then later on that night, I start looking around, and there's like mementos everywhere. There's an autograph picture there. Here's an autograph picture here. Wow. There's stuff all over my little office here from Kevin Conroy. Emails. Nicest guy, no airs about him.
Yep.
Took the train from Manhattan to the show for like $80. Didn't get a limousine. Didn't want a private journey. Didn't need a hotel suite. Just walked amongst the fans, entertained everybody, made sure everybody got an autograph. One of the nicest guys you will ever see who works in Hollywood, because the Hollywood is not a nice place. Show business is not a nice business to be in, and this guy was contrary to all the negativity. One of the greatest guests we've ever had, but it's so sad. It's so sad he's not here anymore. 66 is way too young to go,
Yeah.
Wayne,
any thoughts?
No, all my interactions with Kevin were amazing. And he's one of the few voice actors that will always give you chills when you hear them talk.
Yeah.
There's like Peter Cullen doing Optimus Prime, Frank Welker doing Megatron, and then Kevin Conroy doing Batman, Mark Hamill doing the Joker. I've been at a few conventions where Mark and Kevin were on the same panel together, and it was great hearing the two of them. And then Hamill just being like a total fanboy over Kevin. It just he was always there for the fans no matter what. And Mitch said, no matter how long the line was, he made sure people got their signature. And so, sometimes they'll do like the selfies. This was even before selfies. He would actually he'd just come up, hey, sure, come on, we'll get a picture together.
There was the press junket for The Killing Joke. They were round tables, and it was the stars would rotate kind of like a volleyball game where here's Tara Strong for 10 minutes, here's Kevin for 10 minutes, Ray Wise was there, various people. Mark wasn't there, but at the end of Kevin's thing, one of these guys goes, can you say happy birthday to my friend? And Kevin was so ready to do it, and Gary, the PR guy for Nice, is like, no, that's not why we're. And it's like, but this is what I love. Kevin was ready to do it. Of course,
I know,
because he's a bench. He doesn't care. He just loves the people and everything. And truly, it was fine. I would have to be reintroduced to him each time I met him. And I was so. And Susan's like, Kevin, you know John, and he's like, do I know John? And I'm like, oh yeah, Kevin. We did this online table read with the whole kids. Oh yes. I'm so sorry, John. I'm like, Kevin, you meet your fans every month. I'm like, it's okay, it's fine. And that's why I never felt the need to have a photograph. Mitch, honestly, thank God the last Terrificon, I didn't get a photo with Kevin again because I felt like he wasn't well and I just didn't want to bother him. But I know he was taking photos all weekend, but I'm glad I'm finally doing it, because a lot of times for me, it's just having people on Word Balloon. Like if I never see Billy D. Williams again, I got him on Word Balloon thanks to you. And it's like, that's plenty. That's fine. And I could say that about a lot of celebrities, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, people like that. It's like, it's fine. I had my moment with them. So that's great. And I did feel like I had enough moments with Kevin, both on the air and off the air, that I am more than satisfied. And I'm so glad real fast also that Guggenheim put him in the Christ crossover, and he got to do some live action Bruce Wayne acting. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. No, he doesn't look like Bruce Wayne. He doesn't need to look like Bruce Wayne. He is Bruce Wayne, for Christ's sake. And that was just so great. And also, by the way, I don't know if you guys are keeping up with Titans. I know.
I am.
We don't get it just yet.
Okay. Well, we'll keep it.
Go ahead. Don't worry.
I'm loving the show, Mitch. And
I am too.
Much like Kevin, and I forget the actor's name, the Irish guy.
Titus Wheelever?
Well, no, Titus Wheelever this season as Luther, but I was going back to Batman.
Ian,
the Irish guy.
Yeah, the guy, he was from Game of Thrones, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
And great actor, and again, exuded the character of Bruce Wayne.
As like an old Adam West. That's what I got.
Oh, that's funny.
I thought of him as an old Adam West. Yeah.
I can appreciate that. I just had Brian Edward Hill on, who's one of the Titans writers, and a great writer. And I'm really thrilled for him because his TV and original screenwriting career is going as well as doing Titans. He's been on the writing staff since season 1. But like Kevin, his characterization of Bruce Wayne was terrific. And the failures of Bruce Wayne. I mean, we all know Batman's the real character. Bruce Wayne is the facade. But what is the consequences of that lack of a real Bruce Wayne in there? And that Batman is so focused on the mission, the collateral damage that he puts the sidekicks through really comes through in the Titans series. And now with Titus Welliver, Even I listen, and I wasn't even going to like go there with Brian. Bullshit. Luther is dead. Of course, Luther isn't.
Oh,
dead.
of course not.
We know he's coming back at some point. But
He's
I
going to be an Australian with red hair. He's going to be Australian with red hair. Yes,
exactly. They're going to clone a new body.
You know why? You know why you can't keep it down? Because Titus Wheeler's from New Haven, Connecticut, just like me. And you don't fuck with those people from New Haven.
There you go, man. Back. It's all that Pepe's Pizza that you.
It is. I've been trying to get him to come to Terrificon. He's a huge toy collector, and I always write to him. I'm like, "Hey, come on back home. Come on back to Connecticut. Great. You're doing conventions. I know you were at Dragon Con. We want to see you in Connecticut, buddy." So.
Well, it's funny. Wesley says Titans is like those old Marvel shows to me. Just happy to have it. Well, honestly, I was not crazy about the first season, but it really grew on me. The show really grew on me. I am completely invested in these actors and characters and the way they're portraying them. It's not Wolfman Perez. It doesn't need to be Wolfman Perez. No. It's fine. It's interesting.
I'll tell you one thing, though. They do kind of go – and I heard you last week. I listened to the whole podcast. I was working, and I heard you guys talking. But they do send to that horror genre.
Agreed.
Which I don't get. I mean, I get the whole Trigon and the blood thing, and what was the character's name? Was it Baron Blood? Not Baron Blood.
Brother Blood.
Brother Blood. You're right.
Yeah, Brother Blood. Baron Blood's Marvel,
Blood
the vampire.
Captain America.
Yeah. But the Brother Blood thing. But my God, man, even Sherilyn Fenn. I remember in the first season from Twin Peaks was on. She was Raven's mom, and she got butchered and killed, and there was just so much blood, and there was gratuitous stuff too that I remember Ordway going, "Did you see the scene where Nightwing went to talk to the stripper in the booth there, and they put the coin in?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Did they have to leave the girl just like sitting there with their breasts out as he talked to her back and forth?" I go, "Well, it's trying to get that adult audience." And he says the F-bomb now. He's tough. He's like, "Yeah, but sometimes it's like not part of the story. It's like, look, we're doing this to get the hard R." Yeah, and it takes you out of it because you grew up reading the Titans with Perez and Wolfman and all that, and you're like, wait a minute, you could still be an adult story, but you don't have to show the boobs and the fuck bomb. You don't have to be doing that. Well, that's just shocking. That's not storytelling. Yes. That's like Eddie Murphy jokes. It's like,
but to their credit, and I agree with you that I do think it is still a little too horror tinged.
Yeah.
But again, as evidenced by the Bruce Wayne, Jason Todd, Barbara Gordon, Dick Grayson relationships.
Yeah.
Again, what we're getting with Titus and Connor Kent. I think and even everybody. I'm interested in Starfire's story. I'm interested in Gar's story, Beast Boy. Everybody that's on this show. I hope Donna comes back this season. I haven't watched the latest episode, so I don't know if she showed up in episode 4 or not.
Is that because we're so old, John, that we're shocked by some of this? Like, this is not how heroes talk?
No,
is that how 20-year-olds act?
I don't know. I think you're right, and Jerry's right in terms of it can still be adult without having to do the gratuitous shit. In the trailer for the first season, when you hear Dick Grayson say "fuck Batman," it's like,
I remember that. Yeah.
You don't need that. You don't and again, they're doing it to titillate and excite people. God, when Tilly again dropped her first F-bomb on Star Trek Discovery, I'm like, hey, Tilly, fuck you. How about you want an F-bomb? Here's an F-bomb. Fuck you. We don't need that. And again, it's not her fault. It's not the
it's because the writers and producers don't have enough faith in the content that they go, we have to seed it and pepper it with this because they're not going to watch it. It's going to be the CW. We're going to be like Arrow. We got to drop some boobs in there. We got to drop some fucks you and then some hardcore sex and throats being cut, or they're not going to watch. I'm like, really?
I think what they've except for Doom Patrol, because Doom Patrol is strictly Grant Morrison.
Yeah.
And that's a total difference.
We'll talk about it when the new season comes up.
No, Langley's right. There's a difference between adult and mature. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's almost like they're trying to look what Zack Snyder did with Man of Steel. Took a character that should be bright and just turned it into disaster porn.
Yeah.
Well, you could tell, obviously, my video window is inspired by Zack Snyder. It's always dark.
Yeah, and I think that's what they think. They think people like dark. And it's not you. People like a good story. You tell a good story, it doesn't matter what it is.
We complain about this stuff, and here I am reading Starlog.
Stand by, I'm zooming in.
Starlog number 6, back in the day.
Look, what do you got?
There's a movie coming out called Star Wars. Here's some pre-production artwork. Look at that. That tells a whole movie right there. Look, guys with a sword or something. What's gonna be? Wait, where is it? Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's gonna be good, huh? Oh, and look what's in the back, kiddies. Articles about this Star Trek cartoon. Yay! And look, you could buy 16 millimeter films of Planet of the Apes and Flash Gordon and Westworld. And we have no right to complain about any of this shit like that because this is all we had back in 1978.
Mitch, you know, I'm glad you've got your hard copies because
I do. I saved
them. The Internet Archive has pretty much every Star Log and whatever that publisher was, all those other ancillary magazines that they did.
Comic Scene,
which
was an amazing magazine.
Terry O'Quinn's company,
Okay, because also
O'Quinn Publishings,
also Warren, a lot of the Warren, like Famous Monsters of Filmland and those things, a lot of the other different genres, like there was a sci-fi magazine they tried for like 6 months or a year, it didn't work. There was at the height of the TV westerns, there was a Western magazine that they tried that didn't work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they're all at the Internet Archive, everybody, and you can download them in whatever format that'll work on your tablet. You can even download PDFs. Stand by. Hold on. There you go.
We didn't have the internet and email. We had to write letters to movie companies back in the day
to complain.
Well, and also, God, I remember Comic Scene would have that area where it's like, these are the superhero movies in development. And, of course, 99% of them never
happened, no.
That's when it did get made with the Fantastic Four movie.
Right.
We got
or Dolph Lundgren's Punisher
which did get released.
Yes. Well, absolutely.
Yes, it did.
Like, Joel Silver's developing a Green Lantern movie. Yeah, all right. Yeah, he's developing a Sergeant
James
Rock
Cameron,
movie.
Spider-Man.
No, I was going to say that my buddy worked as a casting director on the James Cameron production crew here in New York when they were casting Spider-Man. Do you know who showed up for the audition? John Ritter. And John Ritter wanted to play Peter Parker. He had to be, like in his late 30s? Yeah. Wow. And this is like 1988, 89, 87, something like that. I'm like, what the hell was John Ritter thinking?
He might have. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, regardless, definitely too old to play a teenager. Although you got it real fast. You got to give it to Ritter for hero.
Well, he showed up to audition. Didn't mean they wanted him, but he just showed up. And somewhere my buddy said he kept all the remember I can't think the Rolodexes. No, but he would have handwritten notes about like who was coming in for an appointment. Back in the day, you actually had little appointment books, and it would say like 2:00, this and that.
What were you gonna say, Wayne?
Oh, I was going to say, I thought with the Cameron movie, he was really pulling for Michael Biehn to play Peter Parker.
Oh, that would have been something.
Weird, but
fun.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, those were the days. No, I loved it, man. And again, Starlog is so worth for people who never read it. Going back and reading, because again, really interesting essays about the existing stuff, as you just saw from what Mitch was showing us. Great pre-production photos of these movies and TV shows being made. It was amazing. I was also a big fan of was it Sci Monthly or whatever, or what was the one that Altman and
Cinema Fantastic.
Okay. I thought it had science fiction in the title.
There was Film Facts too.
Film Facts was out of suburban Chicago, Evanston.
Fantastic Films. I have that over there too. That was another magazine that had a lot of PR stuff. And it's so funny, John. You and I know how PR works nowadays. I used to believe that these were real interviews with all these stars. I'm like, oh my God. And it was just some PR guy. Hey, tell us about Han Solo. Well, Han Solo is a good character, says Harrison Ford. Hey, I don't think he was ever talking to anybody, but
Well, the publicity person who would feed the stuff to the various magazines. Barbara Freelander talked about the mid 60s. It was in the DC 12-cent format, but it was a teen magazine. And she was in New York, and she was getting all the PR stuff from all the bands and the Monkees and people like that, and inventing these articles, just with the filler that she would get from these publicity things. No, and I even saw that in broadcasting in the 80s when I worked both in college radio and pro radio and stuff. So no, and it's funny. This is why I love the Inglorious Trexperts, Mark Altman's podcast, because he'll have guys on from those 80s PR days dealing with the original series movies and how publicity was handled back then and stuff. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. So
yeah, it's still there.
There you go, man. Oh, that's funny. West Langley says James Cameron wanted DiCaprio and Arnold as Doc Ock, which would have been a hint of his Mr. Freeze. Sure. I'll get you with my arms, Yakinta. Why not? All right, we did good. This is good. Franco would have been asleep by now.
Yeah, he would have.
He joined us, but that's all right. He's stuck on that starbase with the jerk from Prodigy.
Yeah, I wonder if the Man from Atlantis TV show. I wonder if the Man from Atlantis show is going to be any good.
Who's that? Is that Linda Carter from? Was that a Battle of the Network Stars moment?
No, that's Patrick Duffy.
And, I know that's Patrick Duffy. I mean the woman, dumbass.
Belinda Montgomery. Belinda Montgomery.
No, that's Patrick Duffy. Thank you.
No, she starred as Dr. Elizabeth Merrill, and Victor Buono was Mr. Schubert.
Yeah, the bad guy. Oh, sure. Yeah. Victor Buono.
He was only like 42 when he died.
I know. Well,
I thought he was like way old. No, I mean, fat is one thing, but
I found somewhere, and I don't remember the name of the channel on YouTube, but they put up there that bad TV movie that was like Murder by Death, where it had parodies of all the TV detectives getting together to solve a mystery, and Victor Bruno was Ironside in that.
And who played Columbo? Oh, fuck, I remember that.
I don't remember who played Columbo, but Jamie Farr, and I don't remember who was with him were Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, no, I remember. I think Artie Johnson was even on it. Oh, no, John Biner was Hutch, and Jamie Farr was Starsky. Oh, my God.
Yes.
Oh, my God, it's
and
coming
it's called,
back to me.
Murder can be hazardous to your health. Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Well, they could have Maurice LaMarche be Peter Falk. He does a great LaMarche impersonation.
He could certainly do the voice. He's a little too big to wear the trench coat.
Oh, I can't believe you brought that up. I remember watching that. I remember Jamie Farr with the Starsky sweater and the
hair
cap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy
crap. It's so painfully bad.
Wasn't it a made-for-TV movie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Charlie Farkas as Sinestro.
Oh, Charlie Callis.
Charlie Callis as Sinestro in the.
Oh, that's the NBC thing with Ghetto Man. Oh,
I told you I met Callis, and he came because he was doing his comedy act, and came through Chicago, and we had him at the sports station.
He's dead, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Just checking.
And he was, this is in the 90s, and I'm like, I gotta tell you, man, you're always funny, but you were amazing as Sinestro, and those big banjo eyes just got wider. And he goes to his handler and goes, "See." He goes, "There's one of you in every city. There's only one. There's one of you in every city that brings up Sinestro." I'm like, "Have you seen the comics?" And he said, "Yes." I'm like, "It's like Gil Kane was channeling you when he was drawing Sinestro. Yeah. It's insane. Like, he didn't need the makeup. I mean, they gave him like the pink makeup. But oh my God, crazy." So yeah.
God.
So yeah, look up on YouTube, everybody. Murder Can Be Hazardous to Your Health. And you'll see poor Victor Buono as Ironside, and John Biner and Jamie Farr and Starsky and Hutch. And that's just the beginning. God, I wish it might have been. No, I was going to say it might have been Clemenza from the Godfather movies that played Columbo, but no. Some Italian character actor played Columbo.
It wasn't Robert Loggia or something. No,
it was not. I love Robert Loggia.
Robert Loggia.
Vic Tayback, probably.
Vic Tayback. Would not surprise me if Vic Tayback was Columbo. Robert Loggia, I'll always give him credit, though, for that great 60s cat burglar show, T.H.E. Cat, where he's the it was like an almost a Takes a Thief knockoff, where he was a master thief, but also secret agent. Remember that one?
The best movie he ever did was the supersonic jet that goes on its maiden flight, and it doesn't stop. And it just keeps circling the earth.
I remember that movie.
Oh my God, you're like, what the hell is this? And it's like, we can't stop that plane. It's going to burn up the atmosphere, or some weird sci-fi angle to it. But what a piece of shit that movie was. But
good final question from Stanley.
Oh, any new Trek movies come? I've been hearing rumors back and forth, but then Uhura said they're not doing them. What's the actress's name?
Oh, really? Zoe?
Yeah, she said it's dead right now. I saw it like 2 weeks ago. She's out promoting a new TV show she did with the Russo brothers.
Everyone is doing their own projects.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like herding cats. I mean, again, they're all busy doing their own things. obviously Carl Urban's busy with The Boys.
Oh God, yeah.
And Pine is doing his own thing, and Zachary Quinto and Zoe. I mean, they're all so it's hard. What are you gonna do? I hope so. I hope they figure out something. But until you hear that filming has begun, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. They're floating. Paramount's been floating trial balloons for years now, and again, it's all bullshit. And
when
it's
when
really
did Star
sad.
Trek Beyond come out? 5 years ago? 6 years ago?
No, 2013 or no,
No.
2015, and it was 2015 or 14. Because
Is it that
I was
long
still
ago?
I was working at the rock station and
Yeah.
got a free Blu-ray of the movie because we were giving them away, and that was 2015. So it was either 2014 or earlier in 2015 that Beyond came out. 2016.
Wow.
Oh, excuse me. Langley says 2016. Okay, but still 6 years ago.
That's 6 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And as Langley says, Paramount doesn't want to pay their rates because they're getting huger and huger as far as the stars go. Yeah.
I would go to see a Captain Pike movie on the big screen.
I would love a Captain Pike movie.
Like a real big deal. Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I wanted to see a Noah Hawley produced Star Trek movie. I wanted to see a Quentin Tarantino Star Trek produced movie, and they didn't happen. So
I don't think that was ever going to happen.
Whatever. Again, well, it certainly didn't. So you're right.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we did good. That we can wrap up here. But there you go. That's it for Word Balloon Live this week. We'll see how things go for the holiday week. It's always tough during Thanksgiving, but a lot of shows and movies are celebrating, and actually comics as well, celebrating anniversaries. So on the audio side, I'm sure I'm going to represent my Jonah Hex conversation with Jimmy Palmiotti, because this week was the 50th anniversary of Jonah Hex debuting as a comic, and or at least in Weird Western Tales as a feature. And I also noticed that the Brave and Bold Batman animated series just celebrated an anniversary, and I can go back to the showrunners Michael Jelenic and my buddy James Tucker and represent that. So expect that in the next couple of days as well here on Word Balloon. A couple final comments. Langley says thanks, take care, and Wesley's optimistic and says you can pay them cats and they'll come running like there's food being poured in a bowl. Well, but again, you need to get the money, and it's not like Paramount is sitting on a pile of money. They need to get investors to, believe in the idea of a new Star Trek movie. And since the 2009 movie, the feature films have lost money. So it's not that easy, man. And again, maybe it's easier for them to invest in the TV shows. We'll see what happens. I haven't watched Tulsa King yet, the Stallone.
I did. It's great.
I'm going to watch it. I'm definitely going to watch it this weekend and catch up, because I know the second episode drops on Sunday. So maybe we'll include that in the conversation moving forward.
And next week's the season finale of Endor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, because you and Jerry were trying to figure out if there was any episodes left.
I thought that ended at 10 episodes. I didn't know it was 12. So.
Cool. Well, that's good. Well, we'll talk about that and more next week on Trek Watch. Thanks a lot for listening and watching, everybody. Everybody stay safe, stay happy, hailing frequencies open, stay healthy.